right, so it was the words that I'll never forget is "You're going to die early." Is I was at the retreat and working one-on-one with a spiritual guide, and I was working with a different tool that allows you to see differently. And those words kind of shook me inside. I was like, who's this guy to be telling me, what's going to happen here? And he said, you're in your ego and you have to make some massive changes or your life is no longer going to be present. You're repeating generational wounds of being a provider, but not being present. And unfortunately, your health, with all the treatments and injuries you've had, is going downhill. And you got to make some changes. And he wanted to make a point, and he said, JR, your family's scared of you. And this broke my heart into a million pieces. I felt I was doing everything possible to provide for my family, truly putting everything into it. I felt like I was on purpose with the medicine that I was doing, and it didn't quite make sense to me. And the funny part is I was already had sold out of the model that I was in, and it had been 12 months. Come on in. Or you're okay. It had been 12 months, and I had already made more time for trying to be more present, to reduce stress in my life. And, I was upset that evening. Like the guy took a big risk telling me how to out alignment. I was so blind and it was unconscious to me because my family was everything. And even said, your family's scared of you. That didn't make any sense. I didn't physically abuse them. I didn't do anything but in my mind win. So he had to show me proof. And he says, go home and ask your young little daughters. So I went down and we have this brown love sack in the corner of our room. And I was speaking to my daughter named Livy, and she's just got this big, beautiful heart and so sweet and sensitive. And I got down to her eye level and I said, are you scared of Daddy? And she said, Daddy, when you and Mom fight, it's always scary. And I was like, wanted to just bawl inside and couldn't even believe that everything that I've been building and working to protect. And this is the environment I was unaware of that I was creating. So that night, I had what they experienced during that weekend called an ego death. And that night I bawled and was at rock bottom for me. And, that was a tough time. And then shortly thereafter, I tried isolating and working through it on my own and couldn't believe, what I'd gone through. And I began cooking. I began cleaning. I began doing what my wife asked months before as being a partner. And I thought, how do you be a provider and partner and be healthy and do all these things? This was our ongoing fight is I don't know how to do any differently. So at times where I couldn't get past that, I numbed with alcohol, drugs, whatever it was to just keep in the game and keep sane. In my mind, alcohol was the first phase. I just traded new things. So now it was work, that I couldn't do sports anymore physically because all the injuries that I had. Instead of alcohol, it was cannabis to go to sleep at night and put my body to rest, and just traded different things from different things. Good news on the other side of it is I learned over 3 years in that aspect. I went and sought tools other than what I'd already been previously doing, regenerative medicine. So I ran one of the world's largest regenerative medicine centers. So it was the top volume, top marketing, top outcomes producing model, and we licensed that model all around the world. And we also were teaching other doctors how to build integrated practices similar to this, lifestyle, functional, and regenerative. And it was getting amazing outcomes. However, at that point, I'd already had 11 stem cell treatments myself. But it would be like putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. So here I have the top functional, regenerative, and lifestyle medicine clinics out there, but I'm continuing to get unhealthier and unhealthier entirely. A handful of years later, is we were in Alaska 2 summers ago, and essentially we're out there on the ocean and there's nothing but calm waters. The whales are jumping around us, and my son starts catching a fish, and they were taking times going around, and we weren't in the halibut area yet where it's big fishing. We were in just catching different type of salmon and bass. And all of a sudden he's like, Dad, I need your help. So I went to help behind him Ended up having a 45-minute or so fight with the halibut, and just the guide hooked it and pulled it on the boat. It was bigger than my son, and I just broke down and crying. They were all yelling and being happy, and what I had experienced is from the darkness of not knowing if you can get out of bed, move, dealing with Lyme disease, things going down. But in my mind, I was so in purpose in providing for my family, didn't know that I could have it all. And in that moment, I felt pure bliss, even though I was crying and crying of the deep work. So over the last 3 years, it's been learning how to look instead of just blood and chemistry, but at the emotional, the energetic. You see the TVs behind us, and even the spiritual aspect of the root cause of healing. And regenerative medicine, what we're going to talk about today, is a combination of all things, and things that go into not just being able to use stem cells like I did so many times to go from knee replacement back to playing rugby, but if you don't address the roots, you're going to be in reoccurring patterns. And this is beyond, this is our families, this is our generational things. These are things that if we're not happy, healthy, physically well, ending patterns, these things will continue to go on. So this talk is really about total regeneration. And yes, we'll talk about a lot of the aspects of the science behind it, but ultimately what you can do to truly not only find medical things externally, but then internally how to help your body heal and unlock using its own natural pharmacy. And that's what truly regenerative medicine, the Vitality Blueprint, and what we're doing here at Centner Health and Wellness to take a 360 approach to healing and regenerating the body. So regenerative medicine is simply an alternative to drugs and surgery and longevity. What that means to me is using your body's own pharmacy. You've learned to go from doctor fix me, coach help me, finding and searching for answers to feel thriving, to feel vital, because there's so much in this environment. People aren't healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally the same way today than they were years ago. So we're looking for help using amazing tools and technologies in labs and assessments. Then are the medicines, the technology, the supports that will help us truly regenerate and not have the need for drugs and surgery of the way of the past and in the Western model. But there's a simple handful of things that determine how our bodies are breaking down. Most people think, oh, I just hurt my knee at soccer practice and I just need a PRP, a regenerative medicine, stem cells, some of these words that you've heard, to heal. But if the fish tank is not really clean, bad blood goes everywhere. So meaning if we go do these therapies and there's a bunch of stuff at the roots and underneath the hoods, and our lifestyle is still addictive, abusive to ourselves, our environment, our words, then the body may feel better temporarily. We're looking to go to vitality and longevity. So why do we break down? Lifestyle is the number one factor of most disease, especially chronic disease out there today. This is our body weight. This is movement, nutrition, some things that we'll talk about, and lifestyle choices like smoking or too much alcohol or too much of anything. All of these things can be medicines, but when we overdo anything, they can also be the kryptonite to our bodies. Stress. This isn't documented or science enough. What this is to me, especially the emotional piece, is, let's just say, have any of you been really sick in life? Have you ever not got that job? Have you ever been rejected? Have you ever not made the sports team that you want? I could imagine being an Olympian and all of a sudden you're going to the trials, you're trying to climb mountains in sports your whole life, and all of a sudden you just heard you're one person away from making the Olympics. How sick, you've dedicated your whole life to something. Or there's that one relationship where you've experienced betrayal or hurt, and it's so deep that it's just like, it literally makes you sick to your stomach. Most people don't talk about the sick to the stomach. They're like, I got the flu and I'm sick, or I have this or that. But what rarely gets talked about is, oh my goodness, I'm sick. You literally can hardly get out of a bed. Like I mentioned, it was a thought that your family's scared of you that made me sick. The worst I've ever felt in my life. I couldn't even hardly move. I was emotionally sick so bad. But imagine that next day if you're that Olympian and all of a sudden you get a call and being like, so-and-so hurt their leg. You're in. You'd like hopped out from this depressed vez, your clothes would be on there, you'd be out of the shower as fast as possible, and you'd be like, this is the greatest day alive. From sick, in bedridden, to immediately out of it. Does that make sense? The world is suffering from emotional sickness and betrayal and negative thoughts, energies, feelings that are weighing us down, and that's actually making us sicker than everything else you could imagine. Hurt of the past, the present, the wounds actually enable our future of vitality, of how we perceive, if we wake up grateful, if we heal, if our bodies are in this blueprint. But when you're in stress, negative thoughts, parasympathetic, your body doesn't heal. So yes, if your hormones are out of balance and you're sick all the time and you're feeding yourself poison with your thoughts, you don't get better the same way that root gets uprooted. And then we do the medicines, the technology that heal. And this is the message that I've seen. I've been part of some of the greatest outcome producing models behind cutting edge medicine, clinical, and science. It's the interlinking of all these, and that's where Centner Wellness excites me so much. We tie it all together to look at these labs that are amazing, these test stem cells and regenerative medicine and technologies that are amazing. But if we don't address those energetic, emotional, spiritually frequency roots, this is what makes me so excited about this model. It's truly the 360 approach to it all. So yes, aging is a disease. Our body's there. We take tests like True Age to see in glycan age, how do we determine if we're actually aging younger? Because if you don't learn how to take care of yourselves, or to feel younger, we're putting Botox and chemicals in our bodies, as opposed to things like Neogen or plasma enhancers or collagens or things that we can do differently. We got to work against to not feed the aging with many of the treatments that we've known today. And of course, injury and lifestyle, this is what leads to degeneration. And who said smoking kills? I feel great. So this is, again, the lifestyle factors age us much faster. This is not going away. This is an epidemic. This is a crisis. And where it's really there, this is nothing new, that it's been a wrong trend for adults for quite some time, which is alarming, and why I love the Centner vision with the schools, the academies, the nutrition from home. This is tying in at a young age the children. How are they being injected, trained there behind a science of learning, truly understanding health? Even though we got the most money and investment into pharmaceutical, surgeries, hospital, our nation's getting far sicker. This is a wake-up moment for us all, and it's starting to shift right now. The world is learning these technologies. We're going to be able to speak to them more, but it's not saying we shouldn't still have research, data, science, tracking outcomes of combining the Western, the medicine world of tracking how we're doing in these new integrated models. But 1 in 3 unhealthy now, extra body weight equals disease. And again, if you're here for regenerative medicine, these lifestyle factors are needing, the extra support behind drugs or surgery, no matter whether we're dealing with any condition. It's a lifestyle related contribution. And yes, the trauma, the stress, the emotional, the physicals is what happens in our lives. And then ultimately it leads to these conditions. So we want to be vital. And this is when we're out in nature, when we are in these environments, we actually can thrive and heal by doing some of this. These texts that we're going to be touching on throughout our times and educations are amazing tools. But if we were living in accordance to our alignment, to the circadian rhythm, to nature, we would learn to thrive a little bit differently than what we are now. So I love, even for me, to talk of this vitality blueprint that is really combining all things here, is we get to assess. This, to me, no matter whether we're dealing with neurodegenerative disease, physical pain, emotional pain, stress, trauma, whatever, the treatment protocol is the same. The structure is where I had to go, even though I had all the top there, I was not assessing the spiritual, emotional. There's now technologies that we have here, like the BioWell, that you put your hand in, and all of a sudden you're seeing the emotional or energetic. There's in-bodies that tell you have inflammation or heavy metal that most of these people haven't been told. Do they got wisdom? Do they got mercury? Do they got all these different things that are poisoning the well that we can assess? We have our 360 assessment that really looks at from physical, emotional, energetic, spiritual on a high level. Some of the most advanced lab tests in the entire world. And we can keep going expensive. but you're not getting these tests at conventional models. This dives deep. So if you've gone and been told that, hey, I just have these symptoms, or you're okay, and they've just looked at 1 or 2 or 3 labs, we're talking, our standard 360 has 9 different tests. We're talking some of our advanced ultimate assessments that are looking at all angle have up to 15 tests. And then when those results come back, we may have to take a deeper, but we're going to get to the root, and you can begin to participating with our coaches or systems, how to get to that emotional root right away, that I believe, again, is the root cause of degeneration. And we are learning to regenerate here today. Then when we have that labs, instead of if you went to a regular IV center, it's like, okay, here's our standard Myers cocktail. Or if you went, hey, here's our standard protocol. Or hey, if you're feeling tired, here's our bio-loving biotech experience. When you have these labs, when we harness the power of AI, we have these amazing medical experts that are all looking at this in this team, we can give a personalized approach to the technology, to the cutting edge medicine, from regenerative medicine to lasers to IVs that are supporting you. So that gives us to a precision and personalized plan. Most centers don't have the resources, the educators, the doctors, the providers, the coaches to be able to be that precise. So that's why I love this model so much in the Vitality Blueprint when we dive deep. Then the next phase is what we believe sets Centner apart in regenerative medicine. Immune strengthening from a European naturopath and nutritionist, that this isn't taught over here, but it's effective. But if you don't have your individual labs, on advanced labs, you can never do this. You're putting everybody on different diets that may support them, but they still may not be specifically tailored to them. So when we strengthen that immune system, then we detox, we pull the crud out of you. So many technologies on the wellness side and on the medical side, from EBO2 to chelation therapies to ozone to different things that we can do with tech to strengthen the immune system, with tech to detox, and then the medicine side as well. So this is really where our medical team and technologies combine together in introducing non-toxic IVs, preservatives, things into the body that are different than the other places. I've been to a lot of people that say, we run the best, we run the most, and we have the most investments in non-toxic chemicals products to personalize these plans. And that's why being here at Centner is like no other place that I've seen. And super excited of the potential we have to regenerate and heal emotional, physical, energetical, and spiritual hurt in the body. Then phase 3, which is my favorite. This is nature. If you learn to recharge with these different devices in through nature, sun, light, water, all these different, the right, words to yourself and from others and people you're around, we can recharge naturally, and we can recharge using tech. So what we also got is Revitalize. If you're truly going to heal, this is the last step of longevity and resilience. And it takes community and education. If you don't know, then it's going to remain unconscious. You have to learn to heal and take your power back. If you don't know how to heal yet, that's okay. I didn't know, and I was in part of the most cutting edge clinics in the world to truly understand the aspect. And it's not like healing ends today. I'm still working every day to peel back different layers, different levels of inner peace, joy, health, and happiness. Just beginning strength training again now after years of overcoming Lyme's disease, learning how to be emotionally regulated, heal my nervous system, and Revitalize. When I know somebody's in the longevity space, and now it's about preventative and longevity health, they know how their body self-heals on its own. It's your own natural ways. Yes, we can use some medicine and technology to help stay optimal, but we know it's within us. And that, to me, is still the lifelong journey, is taking 100% ownership. If you are dealing with blaming anybody for your health, happiness, and success, you're in a place of unconsciousness in healing. Your body's naturally fighting and blaming to stay alive versus taking ownership and doing, changing your thoughts, your habits, your actions, your lifestyle to actually be healthy. When we take ownership, big stuff happens. And this is a journey. And it's not like we're in ownership mode all the time. Sometimes we can be like, have something crappy happen to us. And yeah, that sucks. But how fast can we move past it emotionally and forgive and be more resilient? And that's what the last step is, resilience. Stuff still happens. Life still happens. And how do we be resilient? So this is what I believe is regenerative living. Okay, these are the Centner's principles, and it's the acronym Centner, CENTNER, of vitality and regeneration. CENTNER. The first is community. So in community is our people, you're there. One of my mentors uses an analogy: how you treat a growing plant is how you treat a dying plant. So most of the model in the healthcare system, they go, here's your pill, right? They're going to treat the dying, the plant, the same as you're growing in the longevity and resilience place. What does that mean? You have this pot of soil, the right fertilizer, the words you're saying to it, the speaking, non-toxic and chemical, organic, the right fertilizer, the right amount of sunlight each day. That's nature, light, the right positive words. Somebody have seen the rice study and the water study, Hashimoto's work on terms of speaking negative to somebody, the water, the rice grain turns, really dark and dewy versus, again, speaking light, loving. Plants, people, animals, nature, we're all the same. That environment matters. Water. Water is the hydration of life. Oxygen for the plant to be there. If we are looking to have longevity, it begins with oxygen, calming down our nervous system, having water. This is very difficult to all people. Then it's water. These are the two foundations. And then light. That's how we live and thrive. So we are plants in all reality. So again, more drugs. That's just more chemicals in the fertilizer. Versus if we're going more natural things, that is keeping this fish tank, this plant, cleaner. Then when we go to regenerate ever versus the doctor, people saying, fix me with the stem cells like I used to, trust me. It's like, no, let's clean up that environment, then put the stem cells in there, which is extra fertilizer or miracle grow, and watch that thing thrive when it's got a clean environment. That's what community is. The people you surround yourself. Not all my friends and loved ones are in the same mindset or growth path, but I've learned how to stand in there with the right light around me and the right thought process where I go out there and then go back to my life. But if you stay in there, you think like it, you act like it, you become a victim of it, it will dirty your pot. So the environment, same thing, community. These are the communities, the people around you. The environment is, if you're in a moldy home, as you all know here in Florida, it's going to poison the well. If you're drinking the fluoride out of the water, you're poisoning the well. If we're taking some of these products, skin cares, everything, it is there. So this is your skin environment. This is your breathing environment. This is your living environment. This is everything around you. You go out to eat, you put ice cubes in a gas that has mold in most of these restaurants. It's not cleaned out. So even if we're trying to go to the next level, most of the washer machines got mold on the front. We can try, but if we don't know these extra steps and acts, that's why in Centner University, we're going to teach over the month by month and put this in our university to help educate the community and people by us on what we can do of the Centner's principles of regeneration. The nervous system, Dr. Rocco teaches on, he lightly touched on it last week, is if we are in sympathetic all the time, the body doesn't recover. I lived in fight or flight most of my life unknowingly. So unless we know how to breathe, take pause to rest and digest, some of these technologies can immediately put us in there, like the theta chamber. So there's things that we can do from a multi-level approach to calm the nervous system. Thoughts, traumas, toxins. What we believe, what we think, if we are in frustration, anger, jealousy, bitter, lower vibration frequencies from past traumas, meaning your brain is still remembering it, whether it's true or not, and firing, this leads the outcome of our life. These thoughts are just the chemical stress, like I talked, are poisoning the well. So it begins with our thoughts based on our experiences. So if we don't do belief work or neuro-linguistic programming or rewriting the neural default network, we're going to be living the pattern. If, again, anything you've heard me speak today on is this is the work that most people want to avoid when they're looking for the doctors, the centers, the healing outside of them. This is the work that's actually going to help you get to that third phase of revitalization in true deep work. And again, we meet people where they're at in terms of their budget belief. Nutrition being one of the principles. That's why we love the Centner bioregenerative farms. This is not just organic, this is bioregenerative. Well-sourced, grass-fed, grass-finished meats on the Oklahoma ranch versus the Miami. This comes to the cafe. And then we are sourcing the highest quality stuff. This goes to our schools, the Centner educational platform of Centner Academy, we're feeding those children good things. This is, if we're going to change healthcare, this is the root. Nobody can get away without drinking and eating. That is our first fact from our vitamins, minerals, nutrients. They're being poisoned to not be able to heal. So great, we may want regenerative medicine again if we're putting processed, minimally mineralized or nutrient-based foods into our body, we don't necessarily get to the same place. How do we get here? The standard American diet. Pharma, food, process, speed, all of this. So I get all of it. Everybody's dealt with it. We may get to understand it, but what are we going to do about it? Again, action. Instead of living and being upset about it, let me go live healthy. Let me eat real foods, exercise. This goes without saying. I just want to talk about the Centner principles lightly. So many benefits is if you're truly mentally loving and believing and knowing how important we are, then movement and taking care of your body is the greatest act of self-love we can give. This is you with your time. As much as we want to may help our moms, grandmas, communities heal, if we don't heal ourselves, I got even preachy when I again was sick and dying, even though I was in the industry of health, that I wasn't living in pure alignment, meaning I wasn't taking care of myself fully. Maybe exercise, but missing the nutrition and the thoughts. Rest in relationship. This is the last R of the Centner principle. Is your body does not recover if it's not resting. I've already said it. If it's in sympathetic, if we're not sleeping the right way, no matter what medicine, everything that we're doing, blue blockers, UV lights, if we're not learning to eat on the windows between 10 a.m. and 6 a.m. or traveling and going different time zones, your body will not be able to heal. So many believe this rest is the actual foundational pillar to actually begin healing. So if you find yourself drinking Ambiens and drowning in products, chemicals, and things to sleep, we're really not taking level one in the self-responsibility we need to do to begin healing. And I'm just as guilty as anybody when I get out of balance a bit of not taking this as the foundation of recovery and regeneration. In relationships, I don't like to say the word bad anything, right? What I believe in is right relationship. A past partner. They may have been not my marriage partner, but man, it's the relationship of how you're showing up kind and in your values and in love and present and joyous that matters. But hey, it served a purpose and a lesson in your life. Relationship. You hear people say alcohol's bad. Well, I've definitely been on the side of abusive with it or not in alignment with it in right relationship. And I've been able once overcoming that challenge and problem, going 8 years without drinking and choosing being like, I don't have to be JR, the alcoholic. I can change this mindset or identity or what I was diagnosed to. Why can't I have a glass of wine, especially if it's rightly sourced and full of resveratrol, and be social? And it does open up the heart a space. But when we're in a wrong relationship with any person, people, thing, item, food, moderation is key. And again, these are around celebration, history, culture. So you don't avoid it. You learn to be in right relationship with things. Does that make sense? This is plants, animals, humans. If we're mean to animals or nature or not taking care of it, these are values out of alignment of a soul's purpose to really heal and regenerate. So these two, to me, are the biggest categories of self-responsibility and self-healing of our Centner principle. Now you came for again, regenerative medicine. We'll jump into that, but I want to again seed. I don't believe in healing articles. I believe in self-empowerment and knowledge in a comprehensive, personalized approach to healing is necessary. And rest in relationships. Again, we can support with supplements. We can calm down the adrenals, get somebody out or flight or fight, or burnt out or exhausted or tired. When the body battery is low, we do not heal and recover. And this stress, to me, is again the root of our bodies living in constant stress and what we got to do to begin regenerative. So from a physical and systemic standpoint, we're going to talk quickly about the differences. Nerve treatments. These are injections that may use dextrose, mannitol, glycerin, things that can stimulate the nerves. These are non-invasive, non-toxic things to begin. Prolotherapy has been around since 1950, 60. It's a thing. So no matter what we put in the syringe, whether it's prolotherapy, PRP, stem cell, many types of stem cells, but two common ones we'll talk about today is all of these go in a needle, a syringe, an IV bag, whatever, but they're just different levels. But prolotherapy is kind of the foundation of this. You go pepper an area, let's call it an MCL ligament, and that reintroduces healing to it. And that dextrose in sugar water, non-toxic ways to get going, stimulate a healing response. I would do that same treatment with PRP, platelet-rich plasma, which is your own blood. The blood separated, the more growth factors that are put in there are using platelet-rich plasma. We do this for joints, we do this for face, we do this for multiple body parts. PRP is like liquid gold. I love putting it in my face. It's my own blood, but again, if your blood's dirty, 15, then it doesn't go to the same place. Stem cells, these are what have changed my life. When I was 30 years old, I was told I needed a partial knee replacement. Sports were my identity and life at that time. I'd already done PRP. I was already working with Dr. Baumgartner, a pioneer in regenerative medicine, and essentially we started doing stem cells in 2010. Surgeon said there was nothing else I could do. The PRP wasn't working. Literally taking my own bone marrow and stem cells. In 6 months, I was now pain-free. When every weekend, every step went down. In 12 months, I was back to playing softball. 18 months, I was back to playing rugby from being told I needed knee replacement. So now, as of today, I've had 14 stem cell treatments. Combination of bone marrow, fat adipose, exosome, mesenchymal stem cells, Wharton jelly, intranasal. I've done them nearly all fashions. And I've been thankful that I've been, in these regenerative medicine spaces, that I've got them at cost, I've got them there, but things are changing now and becoming more accessible, available than when I first got into this place. And we started stem cells in 2010. However, they were used in horse trials and things before. PRP's been around far longer than stem cells. This is dating back to 60. And now, mid 2000s, they started using other donor products. There's a lot we could get into and have different lectures at different time, but it determines what you want. If you're unhealthy, some people, and again, don't want to go through the pain of either a bone marrow aspiration or a fat aspiration, there's other products, there's time and place for these things if you're getting the right sourced ones like we do that are coming from non-toxic, certain lifestyles, certain lab tested that are going through these, but all powerful treatments. Regenerative medicine, 3 phases. Either you're looking to go reintroduce inflammation to begin healing in cells and help me back into the body, and then cell proliferation, where it starts to expand, putting scaffolding on there, and then begin remodeling and fitting back in. We've seen in MRIs in the data now. This is not just fool's gold here. This is before and after MRIs of tendon regrowth, cartilage regrowth, and the power of regenerative medicine. I've been a big believer because what it did in my life and why I've had it so many times, but I've seen them heal over and over and again. If we get people participating in the full thing, to me, this is completely the future of medicine. Self-responsibility in regenerative medicine. But like we've talked already in our blueprint, we got to see what's toxic inside the body, whether it's parasites, molds, heavy metals. Got to detox it and strengthen our immune system, then put it together. So what else do we have? PRP, healing cascade, 3 stages that I just talked about. Spine, what leads to it? It's the spine. Dr. Rocco talks often. This is the central. Everything in your body, the spine leads it all. If one's out of alignment, it's there. I still doing a lot of work. I had a lot of rugby injuries around my spine, getting that back to healthy. But this is where it all begins. A lot of people go for a simple fuse or disc in some of these surgeries. Like, you get that locked in, like, you can't go back. So if you're a loved one, a family member, this is the last thing I'd ever do in the world to anybody is consider surgery before doing all non-invasive or drug-free solutions before anybody touches my spine. And again, if you've already had that, this isn't to not tell people. We still can't do the whole picture to keep that body in alignment and discontinue the further degeneration that happens naturally with age, being out of alignment in things that are happening in your body. So again, out of alignment with any of those principles. Anything's out of alignment, degeneration is going to happen in the body. We want to begin the reverse engineering process and get into that vital stage. Healthy labs, thriving mind, body, and spirit type things. These work for joints. We've seen regenerative medicine do great, whether it's PRP. So ligaments, prolotherapy really helps tighten we call it tensegrity, the joint. Let's say I ruptured my ACL, but I had a little meniscus tear. I had a loose MCL to begin because I sprained it 2 times. That's instability. The prolotherapy can tighten up the ligaments around joints, and then PRP, joints and cartilage. If we got tears and we have articulate cartilage damage, that's where I like regenerative medicine and stem cells to do the big healing. So does everybody need stem cells? No. This is like, can you start with the lighter things in the self-healing and recovery things and then go to the bigger things? Some people that come in, like professional athletes and celebrities, they may want to go directly for the most bang for your buck. And that's okay. I just want to tell anybody, you don't have to feel like you need all the money in the world to regenerate your body and mind. There's ways to begin this. For sake of time, you may have the deck. These are PRP definitions. Again, stimulating healing. All these are about growth factors, no matter which of these products you use. Stem cell, orthobiologics, PRP, all adding fertilizer to create a better healing environment and then rebuilding scaffolding. Then we mix it with the cutting edge technology. This is if you just pulled your blood. This is if we're isolating and concentrating. We can concentrate and spin down and get amazing amount of cells into the injured areas and target it exactly. But these have been around, PRP for 35 years, stem cells in that 20 years from human use. And again, we're seeing in all different types of medicine, from dentistry, using a lot of this, to TMJ, to when people have removals, moving the toxins out of the mouth, ear, nose, and third, intranasal for neurodegenerative spaces, cosmetics, using exosomes, some of these products a lot, which are another different growth factors of cells, internal medicine now for Lyme's, chronic mold, these things to really take that immune system and the cellular health to a whole nother level than ever before. So orthopedic spaces where I spent 10 years being in some of the pioneers of that. The last 5 years, I've been in more of the use of the allograft products. Autologous is your own blood, allograft other people's products. I've been in that space far more. And again, usually you'll go to a doctor and they're like, this is the best or this is the best. I've seen them work on all, having the pleasure of being behind the scenes and curtains and all these different practices of regenerative medicine. And this works, again, ligaments, tendons, joints, cartilage, systemic in the system, the brain, your nervous system regulation, and completely to cell health. Yes, celebrities and athletes. What I like is what makes it key to me is what we've seen before is like surgery or stem cells. I'll tell you about my first Achilles tendon that I did in grad school. It took about 18 months to heal after surgery. The things rolled up. I had to have surgery on the other side when I ruptured my other one about 8 years ago now. So I had to have surgery, but I did allograft products on my tendon while at surgery. This is what I call inductive thinking. It does have to be this or that. When do we learn to combine the best of people, brains, technology, services? But so many doctors are the science have been to compete, and this is better than the other, versus the future of medicine is surgery with regenerative medicine. If I have open hearts, I want PRP to reduce the risk of infections, and there's been studies behind all of this. It's the dogmatic thinking and ego, my own ego, that was getting away from my family and healing. It's the ego of the medical profession of, I'm the best, this doesn't work, versus us being like, high five, we're all doing different things here, we're collaborating together to make medicine that works. So athletes, they've kind of pressed the needle when they do it. Stem cells, again, collected from bone marrow, fat, your own PRP. You get these from other labs, from donors and tissue products that are out there. ACLs, I'm going fast. We love musculoskeletal use. There's one of the world leading doctors I work with. They call it the 3 Ps. Precision diagnostics. So let's look at your MRI, let's look at the ultrasound and make sure we know what we're going to heal. Okay? Precision product, toxic-free sourced, our own PRP or blood, maximum concentrate. There is, for those just beginning here, I'm not trying to overteach, is the Kia, Cadillac, and Bentley. If you've been in this space for 20 years, and you're having questions, that's why we love these shows. Put in your email, put in your chats, ask these questions. We know how to tell you how to determine, are you getting the best PRP, the best product. So precision diagnostic, precision product, precision placement. When we can use a C-arm, all the ultrasound, and go directly to that tear, then that's different than just putting them in the system. We like the combination right place, then systemically as well to get the best potential outcomes. So we live guiding it into the spot, rightly where they do. If we can see trapped nerve and impingements, then we're able to move past those aspects. Again, some people you just go into a clinic, and I've seen all the way from the best in the world that are doing cutting edge research, technology, multi-integrated approach like we do here at Center, or those that are just going to a place, putting it in an IV bay or squirting it in IM or into the joint. I won't call it bad. I still think it's better than cortisones or opioids or jumping right to surgery, but it's definitely amateur compared to how the pros are doing. If you look at this knee, we're going to look at the labs, make sure your vitamin D, your testosterone are optimized before we go put this in. We're going to get you on the right supplements that begin internal regenerative healing before one of these procedures. So if we've taken your labs, then we can customize it, but we know the ones that best help. We may be able to use your insurance outside with other collaborating partners with braces, PT, sometimes surgery at the same time of these. Like, what is going to enhance taking your outcome? We're not saying this is the only way, saying let's look at all the amazing medical professionals that are doing good work, pass the ball where it's due, and collaborate together. Then we got medical consult, and again, with our coaches, our health coaches, our mindset trainers, this is lifestyle. If you're going to change and last permanently, you got to make these changes. Knees, shoulders, same different protocol. Again, if we're dealing with inflammation, obesity, metabolic disease, this is the cause of most degeneration. Then we got to look at the endocrine system, the food, the GI, the sleep, the stress. That's why our 360 testing or advanced is looking at all aspects. So we're having a comprehensive plan. Do we need other tests because your initial screening shows some heavy metals? Let's go to the more advanced testing and look at all of them. So we have this algorithm and team of experts that is looking at all aspects of your recovery and regenerating medicine. So to wrap here, what is regenerative medicine in this future integrated 360 approach to it? One, after we get those labs back, we have to rebalance your hormones, your nutrients. We can do any one of these treatments that we talk about to begin the regeneration. And then if we're going to make it last, and while we're waiting for your labs to come back, where you really begin is recharging, using the technologies to begin to reduce inflammation, cleaning up the fish tank, the terrain here. And essentially, we're starting to eat healthy right away with Danielle and microimmunotherapy. We are beginning our movement with our coaches, our trainers, even if these are small, subtle steps. Part of my old way, I was continuing to do hard workouts. I had to learn breath work, yoga, pulse, passive exercise, things that my body was still getting a workout, but I wasn't taxing my system when I was already burnt out, stressed. So if you're a busy entrepreneur and you're go, go, go type, you probably need less than more workout. It's how do we let your body recover while we're going through our exercise programs. Stress reduction, nature, repairing these relationships, learning to regulate your nervous system through your thoughts, your emotions, your energy. And yes, the bio-loving tech, we love it here. So what our offer to everybody is come do a free vital health score. This is looking at the body energy, and if you want to upgrade to that initial heavy metal scan, we'll get that same day right there. That allows us to see what's under the hood before we jump to some of these other medical treatments, right? So, and if you want to look at more comprehensively than anybody else, beyond come do your free vital health score, is consider the 360 assessment. And on that tour and see these lab tests, then we know we can give, if you're going to put in these cells, these other treatments in regenerative medicine, you know you've done the best thing possible and more comprehensive than anybody. And again, then we got whether you want to use your own blood, whether you want to use something because the well needs a little bit of support to go faster. We want to do that on that consult with you and determine. So do I have any questions on regenerative medicine? That kind of sums it up. And I'm not just talking things. Words to me is there's studies all the time. And this isn't words. I've been a part of hundreds of thousands of these procedures in these clinics over a year. And there's options for regenerative medicine you should know. There's cost versus benefit analysis to each one of these treatments and these comprehensive protocols and things that you can be doing on your own. But I love that we're backing this with studies and research. So here's some of the references, and we'll put this presentation up there that went in today's presentation in regenerative medicine. I'm part of registries that are tracking every outcome studies in the regenerative medicine world. So super honored to be working with Dr. Meehan, with the other doctors that we're collaborating with to deliver regenerative medicine at Centner Wellness. So if you have any questions, Paul, who's another one of our regenerative specialists, he talks to people on a regular basis on do a consult. What have you done? Let's see your labs and what regenerative treatment may be right for you. So we can do that virtually or in person when you're taking this tour here. So that's what I'd recommend. Step one, your vital health score, then sending in or taking 360 labs, talking with one of our regenerative specialists, doctors, or myself to guide you to complete regenerative medicine. Any questions? And thank you. No regenerative medicine questions? CENTNER, Centner, community. E, environment. N, nutrition. T, thoughts, traumas, and toxins. N, nature in our nervous system. And E, exercise. R, rest and relationships. Any other audience questions on regenerative medicine or the principles or anything? Have they actually found a way to use PRP, like you're talking about, is that mining? I don't know that study particularly. To me, regenerative medicine and yes, the challenge with gut and internal stuff. Yes, if you were doing a different surgery or had to go in there, I would imagine. Like that's where we're seeing open cavity surgeries using PRP to reduce infections and alter healing. Or again, systemically, they will go through IV or IM blood. Stem cells go or the cells go where they need to. So I'm not saying that that's not effective and it wouldn't go right there for it. So systemic healing of the gut and these things, yes, especially if we're doing the cleanup work, would, in my opinion, aid in the recovery and regeneration process. Any other regenerative products, types, services, lifestyle, combining it, the process that we take at Centner that may help the audience? Thank you all.